great question. If the Ganges is so holy, why do people throw their trash in it? There's two parts to it. One reason why, and then the second part is what to be done about it. And since we're actually doing a lot of work on it, I'll give you that part as well. When we first look at it, it seems amazing. As she's asked the question, this is incredible. If we worship something, how could we possibly throw trash on it? Nobody would walk into a church or a temple or a synagogue or a mosque or a gurdwara carrying a bag of trash and dump it on the floor of their church or their synagogue. So when we originally look at it, we think, oh, it must be hypocrisy. Or it must be that they don't really worship the Ganges, because if they did, they wouldn't dump the trash. But actually it's not quite so simple. They really do worship the Ganges. And I want to just explain to you how they worship the Ganges, because that will explain this ignorant action of throwing the trash. The Ganges is the English word for what in Hindi and Sanskrit is called ganga. Now, Ganga is actually a goddess. Ganga lived in heaven. Ganga's a divine goddess. And through a long story that I won't go into all the details, but through this very long, beautiful story, the goddess Ganga, who lived in heaven, agreed to come on earth in the form of the river in order to bring life and liberation. Life to the people who were living on the banks of a dry riverbed, and liberation to people who had passed away. And it's believed in the Indian tradition that when one has passed away, in order to attain that state of liberation, one should have one's ashes touched by the Ganga. So after great prayers, finally the goddess Ganga agreed that she would come on earth from heaven in the form of this river. She would bring life to the people in the arid valley, and she would flow over the ashes of the people who died, thereby bringing them liberation. And the reason that this is so important is that it is believed that a bath in Ganga cleans away all of bad karma that we may have done. All of our ignorance, all of our impurities, all of the negative aspects in our lives. So people come to Ganga with great faith that a bath in her waters not just cleans my body, but it cleans my heart, it cleans my mind, it cleans my spirit. Now, when you start to think about a little piece of trash. So people come and they travel from every corner of the country to have their sacred bath in Ganga's waters. And they spend maybe their last rupees. Instead of having lunch, they'll spend that money buying flowers to offer Ganga, or buying a box of incense to be able to worship the river with the incense. And then at the end of that, you'll see that along with the flowers, they throw the plastic bag that the flowers came in. Or after offering their incense arti, they'll throw the box that the incense came in. And we look at it and we think, well, that means that they don't really worship her. Because if they worshipped her, how could they possibly throw that bag or that box or that trash in? But when we realize that they worship Ganga as the purifier, not just, as I said, of the dirt on our bodies, but of our deepest, darkest sins and mistakes that we've committed and bad things that we've done in our life. well then a plastic bag is nothing. I mean, if she's the goddess, if she's divine, if she has the power to take a sinner and clean them in a 5-minute bath of lifetimes of sin, then when you try to explain to these people that they've just polluted her with a plastic bag, they look at you like you're crazy. They say, but Ganga cleans everything. Ganga purifies everything. What do you mean she can't handle a plastic bag? What do you mean she can't handle a cardboard box? And then we're actually the ones seen as being sacrilegious, because we think that a plastic bag or a box might actually be strong enough to pollute this sacred river. And so when we do our educational campaigns, that's why it's really important to explain to people that the goddess Ganga can purify you of anything. But Ganga also took the form of this river. She's also in a very tangible form of H2O. And even though, regardless of how polluted that water is, she's still the goddess, she still can give you liberation, she still can purify you of your sins, but there are about 500 million people. You can use the flower to move yeah, there you go, yeah, perfect. So 500 million people approximately live on Ganga's banks, and they actually need her water for their drinking water, for their bathing water, for their cooking water. And so when you explain to them that yes, Ganga herself is divine and ever pure and ever perfect and a goddess, but the people who depend on those molecules of H2O are impacted by your trash. Or the fish swim into the plastic bags and then they suffocate because their gills can't open. Or the cows eat the plastic bags and they become sick. Then suddenly people start to understand and they say, oh, and then they don't pollute her anymore. So it really is a lack of education and a lack of awareness rather than a lack of devotion or love or sincerity. And so that's why a lot of what we're doing is all about bringing awareness and bringing consciousness so people understand that Ganga is, we worship her as the mother goddess, but we also have to take care of her for people who actually need that tangible water for their livelihoods. And so that's a lot of the work that we're doing.